Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
The case between Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez was supposed to be an open and shut case, or at least so we thought. This has turned out to be a rabbit hole full of nooks and crannies. The term "who shot ya" has been running rampant, and no one seems to have a straight answer. Megan blamed it on Tory, but her ex-best friend can't seem to point the finger at anyone. No one knows who did it. Tory is blaming it on the best friend. Before we get into that, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notification so you don't miss out on any of this tea. Now let's get back into it. The case of Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez is getting national attention. We've waited over 2 years to find out the truth, and we're probably more frustrated now than we were 2 years ago because as of right now, we haven't learned anything with this trial. Prosecution says that Tory and Megan were intimate. Defense is painting Megan as a jealous female that was pissed Tory was trying to get it in with Kylie Jenner and ended up fighting her ex-best friend Kelsey over Tory Lanez. Now, the kicker in this case is that both Tory Lanez and Kelsey tested positive for gunpowder residue, but if they were both close to each other when the shot was fired, it's easy to see how that could have happened. Tory's defense is placing the blame on jealousy. This all started because Megan was jealous of Kylie. From the looks of things, it looks like Tory was trying to sow his little oats all over the place, messing with Kelsey, then Megan, and thought he was going to measure up to messing with one of the richest Kardashian-Jenner crew, Kylie Jenner. Now, prosecution says that the incident started over Megan talking trash about Tory's music, and the defense is still claiming jealousy on Meg's end regarding Kylie Jenner. Day 2 of the trial, Megan Thee Stallion takes the stand and she's quoted saying, "I wish he would have just killed me if I'd know I'd go through all of this." Pretty much summing up the industry to being male dominated and that many of her peers have taken the side of Tory, although she's the victim in this situation. According to Megan Thee Stallion, both Kelsey and Tory were in the car fighting. She wanted no parts of it, so she decided to exit the vehicle. When she exited the vehicle, Tory told her, "Dance, bitch," and pointed a gun at her, firing 5 times. Both of her feet were wounded. Megan stated that she was in shock following the shooting, but she did reiterate that Tory did offer her $1 million. He said, "Don't say anything. I will give you $1 million." In court, Megan said, "I'm in shock. I'm scared. I hear the gun going off and I can't believe he's shooting at me." When Megan was asked why didn't she initially report that she had been shot, she said, "At the time we were at the height of police brutality. I felt like if I said this man just shot me, they might shoot first and ask questions later. I don't feel safe in the car. I don't feel safe with the police either." She added, "In the black community, it's not really acceptable to be cooperating with police officers." Now, they did read text messages in court on Tuesday from Tory Lanez to Megan Thee Stallion apologizing, saying he genuinely just got too drunk and that he can't change what he did. Now, day 3 of the trial, and Kelsey Harris takes the stand. This is Megan Thee Stallion's ex-best friend who was also in the car with them. She immediately requests immunity in the case, and she received it for her testimony. Now, she states that the argument took place inside and carried on. She said, without giving any specifics, there was so much going back and forth, name calling between me and Megan, Tory and Megan, Tory and me, Megan and Tory. Now, Kelsey spoke with prosecution back in September and she told it all. In this conversation, she mentioned Tory saying that he was going to shoot her. They asked her on the stand if she remembered saying that, and she asked the judge if she had to answer, and the judge informed her, "Yes, you do." So her response was yes. Yes, she remembered. She was then asked if it was in the car, and she said yes. She was then asked what would make him say that, and she pled the fifth. Now, why would you do that, Kelsey? Now, day 4 comes, and Kelsey is still on the stand, and she's more mom day 4 than she was day 3. How is that even possible? Now, when she spoke with prosecution back in September, she corroborated Megan's story that Tory shot Megan after threatening to shoot her first. Now she's saying that her initial statements weren't true, and she's telling the truth now. Now, this is so damning on the prosecution because she was their key witness, and she is completely throwing the case. Now they're left grasping at straws, trying to figure out how to come back from this. Now, this whole night is a blur, according to Kelsey. Now, she just gave a statement 3 months ago in September, but now she can't recall the events of that night. That sounds pretty shady, doesn't it? She goes on to say that she never saw Tory Lanez shoot Megan, but admitted to sending Megan's bodyguard a series of text messages that read, "Help, Tory shot Meg, 911. Now she admits that those text messages were sent 5 minutes after the shooting, but said that they were all based on pure assumption. According to her, Megan's team told her that Megan stepped on glass. But why would the team have to tell you what happened when you were the one that was there? She was asked, "What's going on with you today? What happened between September and today?" In September, when you spoke with us, you gave us a lot of detailed statements about what happened that night, right? What happened between September and today that you forgot everything? She said, "I told you what I'm going through." Mind you, Kelsey is stressed. She has postpartum depression. She recently had a death in the family. She has a lot going on. And sis is stressed, and her memory is just obviously not up to par. Tory Lanez's attorney asked Kelsey if Tory paid her for her silence because at this point it's giving hush money. But she admitted that he didn't. I am not that privy with law, so I spoke to legal analyst attorney Dimitriy Shakhnevich and asked him, what's going on with Miss Kelsey? What's going on with her? I know she's pleading the fifth, all of these things, and I don't understand. So can you give us in law terms what's going on?
She went rogue, right? That happens sometimes. She met with prosecutors, I think it was in September, and she gave them her story, right? And they thought they had a great witness, right? You have an eyewitness that'll corroborate the shooting, that'll corroborate certain statements that Tory Lanez had made to her. And then the trial comes, and everybody's thinking we're in good shape, right? And she hits the stand, and certain unanticipated things happen, right? And one of the unanticipated things that happened is that she took the fifth, right? She invoked the Fifth Amendment, which is basically to say that there is a reasonable basis to believe that I can be incriminated if I make certain statements. And the way the Fifth Amendment works is it can't partially assert the fifth, right? So if you folks who covered years and years ago the O.J. Simpson trial, right? Remember Mark Furman, right? If you make certain statements, then it's likely that you won't be able to assert the fifth at all. So it's kind of all or nothing. And she asserted the fifth. And what happens after that is prosecutors really have nowhere to go other than to offer immunity, right? Because if you're given immunity, which means you can't be prosecuted, then you may not incriminate yourself, right? And so therefore you can bridge that gap. And that's what happened here.
Okay, so with her being given immunity, what does that really mean?
So there are two types of immunity, generally speaking, right?
Okay.
There's something called transactional immunity, and there's something called use immunity. She got use immunity here. What that means is that whatever she says can't be used to prosecute her, unless it's for things like perjury, obviously. She can't lie on the stand and then protect herself with immunity, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what happened here. They gave her immunity, and now there's no likelihood of incrimination, right? Because you've been given immunity by the government.
Okay. And she's saying like she doesn't recall the conversation that happened in September. And now she's, fuzzy because she has postpartum depression and all of these other things. So what do you feel is going to happen now in the case? Because it seems like prosecution is just lost at this point.
Well, it's a defense lawyer's dream, right? To have an eyewitness get on the stand and say, what I said before actually may not be true. I don't remember. It's a prior inconsistent statement taken to the highest degree. Right. Okay. And so a defense lawyer will certainly make everything that they have to of that.
I'm completely lost with everything. I did not think it would go like this at all.
So you're exactly right. See, when you're lost, right, and by you, I mean a juror, right, a defense lawyer will get up in front of the jury and say, folks, if you're lost, if you don't know what's happening, if you can't connect the dots, if you don't understand any of the arguments, then that's on the prosecution, right? The burden's on them. It's their burden to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. So if we're sitting here and saying, I don't know what happened, she said one thing on one day, another thing on another day, the Fifth Amendment, so on and so forth. If that happens, that's a defense lawyer's dream, and it's going incredibly well in that regard.
Okay. And what happens if they find out that she did perjure herself? If, the information she's giving now, she's lying?
Well, she can be prosecuted on more than one front. The one thing you don't do if you're granted immunity is lie, right? Any lawyer worth his or her salt will tell you that, because you expose yourself to a plethora of criminal charges, and you can be in real trouble.
Wow. Well, I would like to keep in contact with you regarding this case as it goes on. Are you okay with speaking to me again?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. Can you tell the people how they can reach out to you?
Sure. Again, Dimitriy Shakhnevich, www.dshacklaw.com. My YouTube handle is @dshacklaw, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all over.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Dimitriy Shakhnevich, and we look forward to hearing from you again.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one. So now that we have clarity on that, let's get to day number 5 of the trial. This was yesterday on Friday. The jury was finally able to hear the over hour-long interview that Kelsey had with prosecutors back in September. Now, she admitted that a fight did break out in the SUV. At that time, she told Tory, "You're not going to talk to my friend like that." She said Tory said, "I'm from Canada," almost insinuating that Canadians were gangster. He then threatened to shoot Kelsey, at which he reached into the center console, but he did not grab anything out of it. She was like, "Okay, if you shoot me, I guess it's my time to go. If you shoot me, just know I have people that will ride behind me, my support." Now, after she said that, she said Megan then started insinuating that Tory's music was trash. He's only hot because of a feature that he had with Jack Harlow, and he insults her music as well. Tory then ordered his driver to pull over the SUV, saying, "This is my car." Megan gets out first, and before Kelsey can even get out good, Tory starts shooting at Meg. She said Meg starts walking away, but by the 3rd or 4th shot, Meg turns around and is looking like a deer caught in the headlights. She's stunned. Kelsey tried to run over to help Meg, but then Tory started fighting her and pulling her hair. All of this, Kelsey is now saying, was not true. So the question still remains. Who shot Megan Thee Stallion? Now, they did have a pair of LAPD criminologists take the stand on Friday, and one did testify that 4 bullet casings recovered at the scene of the shooting did match the 9mm semi-automatic handgun recovered from the floor of the Escalade that they were all riding in. The other criminologists did tell the jurors that the DNA testing on the gun was inconclusive to that of Tory Lanez, but Tory Lanez's DNA was not detected on the gun's magazine. Kelsey's DNA was not tested at all. Now, the defense team did bring their own DNA expert on Friday, and that DNA expert did testify that he agreed with the findings of the LAPD testing, but while Tory Lanez couldn't be ruled out as having contributed to the mix of DNA found on the gun, he would have expected a clear, conclusive result of Tory Lanez actually firing the gun, especially since they are alleging that he fired this gun 5 times. Now, there is, however, according to this DNA expert, a mixture of an unidentified woman's DNA on the gun as well. But again, they did not take DNA from Kelsey, so they cannot rule that that unidentified woman's mixture of DNA belongs to Kelsey. Again, we need to know who shot Megan Thee Stallion. We will be keeping up with this case as the trial continues, and we will also have legal analyst attorney Shakhnevich available to answer any questions we might have from a criminal law standpoint. What I need you guys to do is leave a comment. What do you think about all of this going on this week with the trial of Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez and Kelsey Harris? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.